Hey everybody, Ed Homewood, Old Guy Hi-Fi channel. I hope everyone's doing well today. Today should be an interesting video. We're going to take a look at the SMSL C200 Pro. So sit back, relax, and we'll get going on this review video. Well, before we get started, big shout out to the folks at Oshida for loaning me this unit for review. If you're interested in the product, there will be a link. It's not an affiliate link, but there will be a link to the Oshida website for this item. What is the SMSL C200 Pro? Well, it is a $199 headphone amp DAC, and it's a really kind of an interesting product. Now, I'm going to be inserting some still images as I talk about things because this thing's just so small, as you can see, there's my hand, that it doesn't frame up right on the camera. So I'm going to insert some still images of the back panel and things like that. The basics are, it is based around an ESS 9039 Q2M DAC chip. So it will do 32-bit 768 and DSD 512. It does use an XMOS XU316 processor, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in depth. It does use 4 Texas Instruments OPA 1612 op amps, and I'll talk a little bit about that. It does use whatever the latest Qualcomm Bluetooth chipset is, so it does do LDAC, aptX HD, SBC, AEC, all of the popular codecs. It's kind of interesting in that on the back, it doesn't use a wall wart. It's actually got a full-size IEC power socket, got a Bluetooth antenna spot, USB in on USB-C, coax or SPDIF in on Toslink, and a coax SPDIF input. But it also has 2 outputs. It's got a line level output, and it's got a balanced output on TRS. Now TRS is just a 1/4 inch, and you can get a 1/4 inch to RCA adapter. I'm not sure why, but I guess it'll give you a balanced out if you want to run into a speaker amp that has balanced ins or whatever. On the front panel, a little display, and I'll try and insert some pictures of it. There's not a lot of information there, and if I can get some still images of it, I will. It just shows you relative volume, your gains. It's got a couple gains. It's got a bunch of filters that you can access to change the slope of the filter for the DAC chip. It's got a setting that you can adjust if you're going to connect your TV to it via optical to avoid interference. It is a multifunction rotary knob, so it push and rotate, push. Single-ended on 1/4 inch or 6.3 millimeter, and then balanced on 4.4 millimeter. Now, the interesting thing, and again, this IEC power socket on the back might be a hint. It's got pretty good power for such a compact unit. It is rated at 3 watts by 2 into 16 ohms, 1.5 watts by 2 into 32 ohms, 170 milliwatts by 2 into 300 ohms, and 85 milliwatts into 600 ohms. And it uses an interesting amp technology called THX AAA888. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in depth. It's got some decent specs. One of the things that stuck out to me was the claimed frequency response of 0.1 hertz to 500,000 hertz. I don't know. It does have a gain for depending on the sensitivity of your headphones. We'll talk about the headphones in just a minute. The low gain is plus 6 dB. The high gain is plus 18 dB. So what I'd like to do is I want to do a little bit of a deep dive into this THX amp technology. It's really kind of interesting. So bear with me while I reconfigure. Well, before I get too far along, I want to remember to mention that it does come with a full-featured remote control. So THX AAA888, it's an achromatic amplifier technology that incorporates what's called feed-forward error correction. Now, it is an advanced technology that reduces distortion by detecting and canceling errors before they reach the output. Remember that. It works by comparing the amplifier's output with a clean version of the input signal. It isolates isolating the distortion and then inverting it and injecting that signal back into the output to cancel errors in real time. Think of it like the common mode rejection you have on balanced connections, XLR cables, balanced out, balanced in. There's no noise because they cancel each other out. It's the same kind of thing. This approach it enables ultra-low distortion, exceptionally clean audio without relying on traditional feedback loops. You guys may have remembered I recently did a review of a couple of monoblocks that absolutely had truckloads of global negative feedback on it, and they sounded not good to my ear. Anyway, so, and that's why guys like Nelson Pass, who one of the most famous amplifier designers in the world, does not like negative feedback. But this feed-forward technology is interesting. Most of the time, you'll only see it in kind of smaller output devices. It kind of assures really good total harmonic distortion, low levels. It's power efficient, which is very nice, so it doesn't take up a ton of power like constant feedback loops where you're running it through a series of op amps constantly. And it's actually kind of popular. SMSL uses it on 3 of their devices called the SP200, the SP400, and the SH9. Mytek uses it on their Liberty headphone amp, and that's about a $1,600 piece. And Benchmark uses it on their HPA4 reference headphone amplifier, and that's about a $3,700 piece. So it's a really interesting technology that does not destroy the sound by applying negative feedback. Again, negative feedback is like trying to fix the error after it already occurred. It's like putting the cart before the horse. This takes care of it before it ever reaches the output stage. So, let me talk about this XMOS XU316 processor chip. So the XMOS XU316 chip in the DAC functions as a high-performance USB audio interface and processor. It handles the reception and organization of that digital data stream coming in on USB from your computer or your streamer. It supports high-resolution formats like 32.768 and DSD512, which of course this does do. It performs asynchronous USB transfer to reduce jitter and outputs a signal typically via I2S or DSD to the DAC chip. In this case, it's probably I2S. It's programmable. The XMOS processors themselves, a programmable logic block. So it's programmable, it's firmware updatable. It can also manage features like digital filtering, volume control, MQA decoding for the 2 people in the world that care about that. And it really it kind of assures really precise, very accurate data transmission for high fidelity playback. Now, lots of times, let's say you have a CD player and that sends a signal out via a SPDIF, whether it's Toslink or coax, to your DAC. Well, the clock in the CD player is what's sending the timing signal. When you send USB, it's the clock in the XMOS processor that sets the timing. So if it's missing packets, it can request a resend of those packets. And that's what the XMOS chip does. And yes, you can put XMOS chips in front of other XMOS chips. We do it all the time with DDC reclockers. And it just is an extra measure and does an extra good job of making sure that you have no timing latency issues or jitter or noise or whatever in the circuit. And that's why DDC reclockers work. So now let's talk about Texas Instruments OPA 1612 op amps. These are really high speed, superbly clean, very neutral, almost cold sounding op amps. If you have a device, most of the time when you see a 1612 op amp, it is not going to be a swappable op amp because these things require a ton of power. They're not very power friendly or not very power efficient, I should say. They also can be super clinical in their sound quality. And I think when you have a combination of like a Sabre DAC chip and then the super clinical high speed 1612s, sometimes it can get, I don't know, it can sound a little strident and so forth. And I'll talk about that a little bit when we talk about the sound quality of this thing. So anyway, that is all the technical dissertation on it. Let's talk about the music I used, and then I'll give you a summary. So for music in this review, I used a playlist that actually was created by Tidal based on my listening habits. I renamed it. It's called Discoveries. And there will be a link to that playlist in the video description, and I'll put a link to it in the community post playlist as well. So the first track is from a collaboration between a group called Biosphere, or a person called Biosphere, and another group called Higher Intelligence Agency. And the track is called Cannon Hill, and it's from an album called Birmingham Frequencies. And it's a collaborative effort by kind of ambient pioneers, Biosphere, which is Geir Jensen, and then Higher Intelligence Agency, which is Bobby Bird. It was originally recorded in 1997 on the 12th floor of Birmingham's Rotunda building. So the piece is really interesting, and it blends kind of environmental field recordings and minimal electronic textures to kind of create this really interesting sort of, I don't know, contemplative, very much impressionist, like a impressionist painting soundscape. The track is, I think the intention is to evoke duo, kind of a serene urban atmosphere. There's real subtle rhythms and ambient layers that kind of reflect each of the artists' exploration of Birmingham City's sonic environment. Really cool track. So again, Biosphere Higher Intelligent Agency, Cannon Hill. So the next track I used was from a group called Carbon-Based Lifeforms, Silent Running, off an album called Hydroponic Garden. And Silent Running is the fourth track on Hydroponic Garden. It's the debut album from this Swedish kind of ambient duo. They call themselves Carbon-Based Lifeforms. It was released in 2003, and the track exemplifies the group's kind of signature blend of lush atmospheric textures, minimalist rhythms, kind of creating a serene and introspective, kind of soundscape. It has a tempo of 75 beats a minute and a three-quarter time signature, and it kind of invites you to just, to kind of achieve a meditative state, kind of, feeling a bit solitude, just kind of a nice, you're just by yourself listening, and kind of gives you a chance for maybe some inner reflection if that's what you want to do. The composition's ambient layers and subtle melodies mirror the themes of introspection and tranquility that are all part of this album, and hence the name Silent Running. Well, the next track is from a duet called Kruder and Dorfmeister, and I'm going to have to read this because when you see it written out, it's crazy. It's Shaka Tada Ka Doo-Dub, Sheka Katata Doo-Dub, and it's off the EP of the same title. I'm not going to repeat it again. It's a standout track by the Australian duo Kruder and Dorfmeister, and it's in their 1994 EP release with that name. And it's really kind of an interesting, the group themselves is really known as kind of a down-tempo, dub-influenced, that's their style, blending deep bass lines. There's some great bass on this one. Intricate rhythms, atmospheric textures. It creates a laid-back, yet kind of immersive listening experience. And on headphones, it's really cool. All these tracks are really cool for that. You get all kinds of things going on inside your head. The title playfully nods to the British jazz funk band called Shack Attack. And it kind of reflects the duo's penchant for blending genres and infusing their music with kind of a sense of humor. Obviously, the name is rather comical. The track itself has been praised for its smooth production and has become a favorite of fans, obviously, of down-tempo and trip-hop music scenes. So now, what did I think of this thing? Well, I'm going to combine my test procedure and my summation all in the same section here in the video rather than drawing this thing out any longer than I need to. I did feed it USB from my laptop running Artivana. I did for a time run it through an SMSL C200 Pro DDC reclocker because I figured this is SMSL. That's from SMSL. Maybe it'll work good. And it actually made a bit of a difference, no question. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. The headphones I used were the FIO FT1s, which is a $150 closed-back dynamic driver headphone. I think that made everyone's best of 2024 bargain headphone list. It's really good. They're very comfortable, good bass, really smooth sound, really, really enjoyable to listen to. I also use the Sennheiser Massdrop 6XX, and again, that headphone is an open-back dynamic driver, but it has a really good detailed mid-range. It doesn't do a ton on bass, it's okay on highs, but it's not amazing. But the mid-range on that is very rich, and it's really good if you want to listen into vocals and things like that in that mid-range. I also use the FIO FT5s, which is my reference headphone. That's a very revealing open-back planar magnetic headphone. Excellent bass, excellent, just good tone all throughout. Really revealing. It can show up, it'll magnify problems if there are problems. It doesn't smooth over anything. It's a very, very good headphone. But for fun, I use these SJY. These are the Horizons. This is a $1,000 headphone. This review will be coming out soon. This is a closed-back planar magnetic headphone. It's actually made out of forged carbon fiber. They're really interesting. But here's the thing. It's 11 ohms. These are a monster to drive. And guess what? This little SMSL unit drove them fine. Was plenty loud for me, so I had no issues. So it's got good power. I mean, 3 watts doesn't seem like a ton, but it goes a long way with reasonably efficient headphones. So again, good power on it. So what did I think of the sound? Well, the bass on it was very good. This is a very clean, very neutral, very detailed headphone amplifier. I think that Sabre chip there is a little bit of glare in it, and I think with those OPA 1612 op amps, there's a little bit. It is a very cool, very neutral, not sterile, but very cool sound to it. Bass was good, good texture, good pace to it. Didn't dig super deep, but you know, it is what it is for the size it is and the power rating it has. It did a really good job through the mid-range, although most vocals sounded a little bit cool, not warm and not kind of you know, chesty. A baritone voice sounded a little bit cooler than you would kind of normally expect, although it was not bad. It was not fatiguing. Mid-range was very well detailed. I thought instruments in the mid-range sounded good. It added no sibilance, unless of course it was in the recording, but it didn't band-aid that stuff. High frequencies, again, very cool, but very hyper detailed. If you're looking for good detail, and this would be a great choice, especially for 199 bucks, it actually performed quite well. I listened to it for quite a long period of time. I didn't have any fatigue issues with it. There was a little bit of stridency, but I'm sensitive to lots of that stuff, and I don't think it was necessarily this as much as it could have been the synergy with the headphones. But anyway, I think for 199 bucks, this is a compelling little piece, given its size. I mean, it's just so easy to accommodate on a desktop. If you're looking for something nice and convenient and small and you like detail, I recommend that a lot. So anyway, that is the SMSL C200 Pro headphone DAC device. Well, again, a big shout out to the folks at Oshita for allowing me to review this unit. There will be a link to their website. It's not an affiliate link. There will be a link to their website if you're interested in this unit itself. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you'd be willing to give me a like and your subscription. It would count a lot and help me a lot. Thank you so much. Thanks to my members and my viewers and my subscribers. If you wish to join the channel, there will be a membership link in the pinned comment and in the video description. There will be a playlist link. It's a title playlist link to the music I used in this video. If I can convert it to a Qobuz playlist, I will try to. I've got a piece of software that supposedly does it. It hasn't worked perfectly every time, so I'll try it, and if I can, it'll be there, and if I can't, I apologize. There are affiliate links in the video description. You guys know the drill on that. Please comment. Let me know. Are you looking for something super nice, little compact dealy that can kind of drive almost any headphone? Not super crazy expensive ones, but certainly any of the kind of more popularly priced products, it will work just well with it. Let me know in the comment section. There will be a link to the community post playlist. Please check it out. I will also add this playlist to that community post playlist as well. I think that's everything. Like, subscribe, comment. Please follow me on Instagram if you wish to. My name's Ed Homewood. This is the Old Guy Hi-Fi channel, and as I always say, it is now your obligation to yourself to put on some beautiful music, sit back, relax, and enjoy the balance of your day. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day.